Firefighters are mounting a search and rescue operation after a blaze broke out overnight at a block of flats with cladding issues. 2 people have been taken to hospital and 100 were evacuated after fire engulfed the building in Dagenham in East London. Here's the city's fire commissioner, Andy Rowe, speaking earlier.
Firefighters with our partners have been working arduously through the night to bring this fire under control, and I can confirm we have now stood down the major incident. I want to place on record our thanks to the officers and crews who placed themselves at great risk and extreme dangerous conditions to successfully rescue and evacuate so many people that were faced with a significant building failure.
Now, last year, planning permission was approved for the removal of non-compliant external cladding on the 5th and 6th floors of the building, Spectrum House, and its replacement with compliant cladding, according to Barking and Dagenham Council planning document. Well, Giles Grover is the co-lead of End Our Cladding Scandal campaign and joins us now. Giles, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Giles, how close was this to becoming another tragedy similar to Grenfell?
I think it's obviously a little early to say. I've got to wait for the investigation to uncover the cause and why the fire spread. I think the fact the work was underway to remove the cladding, that potentially reduced the risk, but we don't really know what other safety defects the building had, whether work would have resolved all of those. So the response on the ground now is seeing from the London Fire Brigade, from fire services, has improved a lot since the tragic events at Grenfell. Those buildings are now generally requiring people to evacuate the building rather than the failed stay put that used to be in place, that is still in place for a lot of buildings. But it's very concerning that the scaffolding caught fire as well, and people just didn't hear the alarms to ensure they were able to escape. So I think the problem is there's still a lot of luck that's playing a big part in this. So it's only, we've seen near misses very regularly, unfortunately, and we're still not seeing enough done by the government to actually fix this crisis.
How many buildings are still non-compliant when it comes to cladding?
Yeah, I mean, the statistics are all over the place right now. The government previously estimated there were about 11,000 buildings over 11 metres with unsafe cladding, although their latest dashboard, which still is needs a lot of work to put it mildly, says that 4,613 are being monitored by the government. You're looking at probably around 600,000 people who are living in unsafe homes and about 3 million in unsellable homes. So I think the latest stats are the work is completed on about 29% of them. That's over 7 years since Grenfell. We've still got a number of buildings being assessed as unsafe. They're amounting on a monthly basis. The problem that we have right now is just there's too many complications. The previous government came up with I'll use the word solution, but massively complicated approach that just isn't working. It's theoretically placing liability on developers and freeholders for leaseholders. Everyone's just trying to pass the buck, minimise their own liabilities, and we're the leaseholders and residents, the people that are still trapped in the middle.
And look, next week, 4th of September, in fact, the Grenfell Inquiry will publish its Phase 2 report. What are you expecting, Giles?
Well, if you've seen any of the evidence at the inquiry during the sessions, it kind of laid bare the focus of successive governments on the interests of industry rather than residents. So it's very complicated. There's a lot of participants, but what we need to see and what the families of Grenfell, the bereaved survivors and residents need to see is the truth come out and real justice and accountability. And that includes charges being brought swiftly. Unfortunately, it looks like it'll be 10 years. Probably 2027 before we'll see charges. There's still recommendations from Phase 1 of the inquiry that haven't been implemented, like personal emergency evacuation plans, because the previous government said they weren't proportionate. We're hopeful this government will do them, but we're still in a bit of limbo, to be honest.
Giles, thank you for giving us your time. Giles Grover there, co-lead End Our Cladding Scandal campaign. There's a fascinating article in today's Times about the many companies and contractors who are being blamed for various parts of the Grenfell scandal. Really worth your read. You can find that by picking up a copy of the paper or going online to thetimes.com.